A very good evening to all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Uh, Good evening, participants and sir.
Sir, you're not audible.
Ma'am, now, hello,
Yeah, it's breaking.
hello.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, now,
Yes, you go
okay.
ahead, sir.
Voice is breaking, sir.
Ma'am, we'll be starting in another a minute. Very good evening to all the participants. Sir. Welcome you all to the third day FDP. I request Professor Usha Madam to orient about the topic on for today's discussion. Ma'am, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Good evening, all. I'm glad to welcome everybody to the third day of the FDP on data analysis using Jamovi and eViews, organized by School of Commerce. Today's topic is structural equation modeling using Jamovi. I request everybody's active participation through the session. I'm pleased to invite Dr. Rajkumar Chavan, our esteemed resource person, to take over the session. Thank you.
Yeah, hello. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, hope so the voice is clear, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, shall we start or we'll wait for another 1-2 minutes, ma'am? We'll proceed.
So they are joining. If we could wait for 1 or 2 minutes, it would be nice.
Okay, okay. Fine. We'll wait for another 2 minutes. Then we can proceed with further.
7:05 we will start, sir.
Sure, sure, sure.
Very enlightening session on both the days, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So online, hope so it is getting productive and very useful because I think
Yes,
recording is also going on.
true.
So we can watch anytime and whenever we have anything, we can learn from that also.
Yes, sir.
How about EV software, ma'am? Are everyone able to download the EV software?
I think yes, sir.
Okay.
On Saturday, you will be here for the offline session, no, sir, to Reva University.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So by 2 o'clock, you are starting, right, ma'am?
Yes,
Saturday.
sir. Yes.
Okay. So I'll be there by 1:30, 1:45. I'll be there.
Sure, sir. I think we can start it, sir, at 7:05.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
So once again, good evening. Today we'll discuss the topic continuation of from what we discussed in the previous topic, that was confirmatory factor analysis. So now we'll discuss today SEM model, that's called structural equation model. So let me share my screen and please confirm whether you can see the screen or not.
It's visible, sir.
Visible, ma'am? Is the Excel sheet is
Yes, Excel sheet here.
right? Perfect. So quickly, let me go back what we discussed before we start with the topic. Just I'll take 1 or 2 minutes to tell you. So in the last class, we were discussing about what is confirmatory factor analysis. Before we started with CFA, which is called as confirmatory factor analysis, we discussed few concepts related to EFA. So what is the process actually we follow? First, we go for EFA, then under factor analysis, you have EFA, CFA, then we go for SEM model. Then we discuss what is PCA, principal component analysis. Then we discuss about what is validation of construct, scale development, where it is used. Then we discuss one test called as KOMO test that is used to strengthen the relationship between the variables. And these are the acceptable values of KMO, but which is not acceptable is 0.50 less than that. Then we have one test called as Bartlett's test of sphericity, which is test the null hypothesis of correlation matrix. Then we discuss when we talk about analysis, we have two types of analysis like exploratory factor analysis and confirmatory factor analysis. What is the difference between both? Exploratory factor analysis focuses on understanding the underlying structure, and confirmatory factor analysis talks about the testing the hypothesis that examine the relationship between observed and latent variable. Okay. Then we discuss what is latent variable, which is nothing but they act like a independent variable, which is nothing but cause or explained variable of observed variable. So what is observed variable? They like a dependent variable. Those are effect variable. Then we discuss what is one case study I think I took. There we identified what are latent and what are observed variable from that case study. The first one was there are brand awareness, brand loyalty, perceived quality, which is act like an independent variable. And observed variable under each observed variable, we had BA1, BA2, BA3. That's nothing but act like a dependent variable. Then we drawn a diagram, which is nothing but your path diagram, which shows that we have three construct with us. So those three construct is nothing but your brand awareness, brand loyalty, and perceived quality. So you can see these arrows. So this arrows says what is the correlation between the construct, right? And within the observed variable and latent variable, we discuss what is the correlation. That is nothing but this arrow you can, which is coming out from brand awareness, and you know each arrows will have its own error. Okay, that is nothing but E1, E2. It will keep on going till the last observed variable. So that was the discussion. And then we did in Jamovi how to analyze the result, what is the various each model fit, how to do, how to see the chi-square test value, what are the RMSE range, everything we discussed in the previous session. That was something related to your confirmatory factor analysis, right? Today, very important, which is going to further, that is something called structural equation model, which is also called as, in short, we called as SEM model, right? So most of the time, uh, nowadays you see all the social science research, especially HR, marketing, and any others where there is a questionnaire is there, especially. So they do in their thesis nowadays. Many people they are applying this SEM model. So basically, what is this SEM and all? Let me give you some knowledge, whatever I have about SEM. We'll try to see to that we can work on today this model within Jamovi. First of all, let's try to understand what is this SEM model. Okay. What exactly SEM model is? Okay, so first let us understand it is a kind of a multivariate statistical technique. It's a very basic and very fundamental. You should understand that SEM is something which is one of the statistical technique only. But when we say statistical technique, it is something called as multivariate statistical technique. Okay. So let me tell you what exactly is multivariate statistical techniques. Okay. So let me go to the board. Okay. And let me write down here so that you can understand. Okay. So when we talk about, okay, first, what is SEM actually? It is a multivariate statistical technique. Okay, so it's a multivariate statistical technique. Okay, please give me a confirmation. Can you see my board online? This one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, perfect, man. So when we talk about multivariate statistical techniques, so please understand there are two types of multivariate statistical techniques. Huh? We call it as multivariate technique also. The first type of technique is called something called dependence technique. Okay. The first type of technique is called dependence technique. And the second type of technique is called interdependence technique. So there are two types of multivariate techniques. One is dependent techniques and one is interdependence technique. Okay. So let us further see what each of them represent. Okay. When we talk about dependence technique, so we have various dependence technique. Okay. I'll come to that. What is dependent? So under this, we have something called multiple linear regression, or we can say multiple regression. So remember, multiple regression is a dependence technique. Okay. Then after multiple regression, you have something called discriminant discriminant analysis, which is also called as a dependence technique. Okay. Then you have one more technique, which is called as logistic regression. Even logistic regression is also called as dependence technique. Okay. Then you have something called MANOVA, multivariate analysis, which is once again your dependence technique. Then you have something called conjoint analysis. Okay. So conjoint analysis is also one of the very important techniques, which is also called as a dependence technique. Okay. Next, after conjoint analysis, you have something called next one. Let us further, let me write here, canonical regression, CANONICAL. This is also one of the your dependence technique. And the last one is called SEM. What is SEM here? Structural equation modeling, right? So SEM is what type of technique now? It comes under which technique? Is it a dependence or independence technique? It comes under your dependence
Dependence.
technique. Okay. So I have given you, these are the standard and most important in advanced statistical analysis, which is called as SEM is one of them, which is called as dependence technique. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. The another type of technique is called interdependence techniques. Okay, let me list down what are interdependence techniques so that you will have a clarity what is dependence and what is interdependence. Because when you are applying any statistical tool in your research or in your thesis, you should know that what I'm doing, whether I'm applying dependence or independence. So first one is something called EFA. Okay, what is EFA? Exploratory factor analysis, which is called as interdependence technique. Okay. And the second one is something called as cluster analysis. Okay. You must have heard many times cluster analysis concept and all, which is called as interdependence technique. Then you have something called CFA. Okay. EFA and CFA. So CFA is confirmatory factor analysis, which is your interdependence technique. Okay. Then you have something called, see here you have discriminant analysis, right? There is one more technique which is called multi-dimensional scaling. Okay, multi-dimensional scaling, which is once again which is called as interdependence technique. Okay. And the last one, which is one of the technique interdependence comes here, that's called correspondence scaling. Okay. Correspondence scaling. So this is once again comes under your interdependence technique. Okay. So now you have a clarity, you have a picture in front of you. Okay. What is dependence and what is inter? But remember, our discussion will not be on all since we have very limited time and this one. So we were going to discuss only one of the technique, which is something called as structural equation modeling, and that comes under something called as dependence technique of multivariate analysis. Okay. So this is itself is a very big thing you should know when you talk about in your research. Okay. So let's talk about now today, what is structural equation modeling? Okay. Is it clear till now? Any doubts?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay. Yeah. So let's move on to the next one. What is dependent techniques and all? Okay. So still little bit I have to give introduction to this particular concept. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about what is dependent techniques basically. Dependent technique. So dependent technique is something where there is a variable called y variable, right? So y variable is function of x variable, right? So we say y is a function of x, which is something called as any changes in y will because of the changes in what x. So x changes, y changes. So we have like this equation also, we can write y is equal to a plus b into x, right? Sometime what we do, this particular, we can say the linear model, okay? This is your linear model without any error. So we can write this like this also. Y is equal to a plus b into x plus epsilon. What is epsilon? It's called as error, or it is in your statistics language, it's called noise, white noise. So it means the y value is depend on alpha value, a is alpha, beta value, x value, which is independent variable, and some epsilon, right? Which is your error term. We can also say the y value is not only depend on alpha, beta, which is this is your 1y, 1x concept. It can depend on x1, x2, or x3, right? The y value can also depend on x1, x2, and x3. This is something called dependence technique or dependent technique, right? So what is dependent here? The y is dependent on x1, x2, and x3, right? So that is why, so when we say SEM model, right? It is a SEM model is what basically? It's a model which is dependent technique, okay? So let me further explain you why it is called dependent. So we got to know that there is something called as what? Dependency of y on x, right? The next one is further. Let me show you. Further we can discuss. We add the page here. So what is this basically when we say SEM model, right? So when we talk about SEM, right? It is a model which talks about the relationship between multiple independent variables. So SEM is a model, okay, or structural equation model, which explains, okay, this explains the relationship. It explains the relationship among among multiple variable, among the multiple variable, right? So that is the first job of SEM, right? It talks about what is the relationship between multiple variable. We can say multiple means x1, x2, and x3, right? So we also can say SEM is something like this. It's a combination of, okay, the SEM model is a combination of two things. What is this? What are those two things? It's a combination of multiple linear regression and it's a combination of explorative factor analysis, right? So when we say SEM means it's an equation, right? Structural equation. So we are building an equation between the y value and x value. So when we actually want to derive with the SEM, so it's something which has a mixture of two things. Multiple linear regression, which talks about the equations between y and x, and some factors of EFA, right? Which is called as explorative factor analysis. Okay. Now let me write here what is another job of SEM. Okay, why it is used? First thing is it is used to analyze, or we can say to understand the relationship among the multiple variable. That's the first job of SEM. Then what is the second job of SEM? It is used to analyze. Basically, it is used to what? Analyze the structural relationship, right? It is used to analyze the structural relationship between the measured variable between the measured variable and latent variable, measured variable and latent variable, or we can say latent variable, you can say, or latent construct, right? That is the second job of SEM. So what is first what it does? It understand the relationship between multiple variable, and the second job of SEM is to analyze the structural relationship between measured variable and what? Latent variable or latent construct, right? So when we say SEM, right? In the SEM, what we use? We sometimes we use both. Okay. Now, for example, let me tell you here. Okay. Now you just now I told you, know, there are some two types of technique, multivariate techniques. Which are those multivariate techniques? We have something called as dependence technique and interdependence techniques. Okay. Now you have to answer me this question. Multiple linear regression. Okay. So tell me, anybody can unmute and tell me, is it a dependence technique or interdependence technique? Multiple linear regression.
Dependence technique.
Yeah, it comes under your dependence technique. Perfect. So MLR is nothing but multiple linear regression is a dependent technique, right? Now, what is the next one? I told you SEM is a combination of two things. We apply dependence technique, and tell me EFA comes under which type of technique?
Independent.
Interdependence.
Interdependence technique. Perfect. So it means why we say it is a combination, because in SEM model, what we do, we apply both dependence technique and interdependence technique. That's the reason when we add MLR plus EFA, it's nothing but SEM, structural equation modeling. Okay, that's I'm creating a foundation for you people. Okay, so let's go on further discussion, Fion. Okay, is it clear till now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Just once again. Next one. Okay, sorry. So let's talk about now. We understood that SEM is a combination of two things, which is your MLR and one is your EFA, right? Now, what is the one important feature when we talk about of SEM? Okay, so we understood what it does. The first thing is it does the job of estimation. Okay, it does the job of estimation of multiple multiple interrelated dependence technique. Interrelated dependence in a single analysis. Okay, like for example, let me give one example of this. So let's say, for example, there is multiple interrelated dependence techniques. Okay, so multiple interrelated means you have x variable 1, x variable 2, x variable 3, and you have something called as y variable 1, right? So this is something multiple interrelated dependence technique. So it means the y value which we calculate by using the x variable x1, x2, and x3. This is something which is called as interrelated dependence technique. Okay. The next one is the what is the second feature of particularly the same is it estimates, okay, it estimates the latent variable. Okay, so what is latent variable? Okay, we can also say that latent construct or variable, which is something called as unobserved. Okay, it's called as unobserved concept. Those are called as what? Latent variable. So one is your estimation of multiple interrelated dependence in a single analysis, and the second one is estimation of latent variable, which is called as unobserved variables, right? Or we can say unobserved concept, right? So now under this particular concept of latent variable, you have something called as latent variable, or we can say latent construct. Okay, first let's try to understand. So the first one is called as latent variable. Okay, what is latent variable, or we can say latent construct, that we have discussed in the previous session few. Okay, further let's try to understand how to identify, okay, in a particular SEM model, what, how do we get to know that which is your latent variable or latent construct? Okay, so if you remember yesterday's particular session, okay, so can you see here this particular round, okay, brand awareness, right? Brand awareness, brand loyalty, and pursued quality, right? So wherever you see, okay, there is something called as the oval shape, right? If you find such kind of diagrams, right, where there is a round color oval. So we saw in the yesterday brand awareness, then you have brand loyalty, and you have pursued quality, right? So this oval shape, this whatever the shape we are using, this is called as the oval shape. So when we build the same model, no, you will get this diagram in Jamovi. So this oval shape diagram, whatever we see inside, those are all called as latent construct. Okay, these are all called as what? Latent constructs, right? Is it clear everyone now? What is latent construct or latent variable now here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the second one is something called as measured variables. Okay. The second one is something called as measured variables. Measured variable, or it is also called as observed variable, or another we can use as an indicator, right? As an indicator. So let's talk about this one. So how to see what is measured variable or observed variable? Okay. If you find like this rectangular box, okay. If you find this rectangular box, that means, like for example, you remember yesterday there was something called as brand awareness, right? Under brand awareness, you had three particular items, right? Which is nothing but your BA1, this was BA1, and this was BA2. So now tell me now, what is this BA, brand awareness on the oval shape? What do you call this one? Whichever you
Latent
find.
variable.
Yeah, this is your latent variable. Okay, this is your latent variable. So I'll tell you what very simple thing how latent variable comes. Okay, and then what is BA1, BA2? What is this called as? These are all observed variable.
Observed
Observed.
variable.
Yeah, this is called as observed variable, and or some people they use word called as indicator. Okay, so you don't get confused. BA1, BA2. Rectangular means observed variable. Oval shape means latent variable, right? So this is what the concept we have to do when it comes to your latent variable or latent construct, or we can say your observed variable or indicators. Okay. Now let's try to understand. One note I am writing here. Okay. One note. Okay. For all of us to how we can say what is basically a latent and what is basically observed variable. Okay. When we club, okay, when we club all the questionnaires, okay, when we club all the questionnaires, okay, it becomes something called as construct. Okay, it becomes something called as what? Construct. So when we say construct means I'm talking about the latent construct over here. Okay, so what is construct now here? So how do we get the construct? When you have a questionnaire, so you have prepared a questionnaire on, remember when you are preparing the questionnaire, here we are talking about the continuous variable. The data should be collected on continuous variable form. Okay, it means on Likert scale, 1 to 5, or you can say 1 to 7 between this. So on this, if you're collecting the data, okay, you will ask so many questions related to your dependent variable and you will ask questionnaires related to your independent variable. So what you will do under each dependent variable, you will ask so many sub questions. Under each independent variable, you will ask so many questions. When you club the bunch of that particular question, okay, that will become something called as construct. Okay, that is something become called as what? Construct. Okay, so try to understand what is construct. When you're clubbing all the questionnaires, it will become something called as what? Construct. Okay, so let me give one more example. When we talk about this construct, okay, when we talk about this construct concept, okay, in same model, you have to understand these constructs, or we can say which is called as latent construct, are two types of construct. First one is something called exogenous latent construct. Okay, the very important word I'm using here. One is called as what? Exogenous latent construct. Okay, there are construct. Those constructs are two types: exogenous latent construct, and the second one is something called as endogenous latent construct. So there are two types of construct we use in same model: exogenous and endogenous latent construct. Okay. Now, how to define, or what do you mean by exogenous and what do you mean by endogenous? Okay, let's try to understand everyone here. When we say exogenous, okay, what is this X? Okay, this word you remember. In exogenous, what is the word X, right? So exogenous latent construct is something called as independent variable. Okay, it is called as what? Independent variable. So what is exogenous uh, latent construct? It is called as IV. What is IV? Independent variable. Okay. So now you tell me, if exogenous latent construct is independent variable, then what is the second word we have? Endogenous. Now tell me, in endogenous, what is the word we are having? ND, right? So the word which is very important here is D. So what is this can be?
Dependent.
Dependent.
Yeah, this will be your DV. What is DV? Dependent variable, right? So remember now, this will come when we come to Jamovi. So it will ask you what is your exogenous latent construct, and it will ask you what is your endogenous latent construct. So exogenous means, exo means independent variable, and endogenous means dependent variable. Okay. Now tell me, when we say structural equation modeling, are we doing on single variable or multiple variable? Can anybody answer me this one? Is it a single variable means what? Are we using only one y, one x, or multiple x?
Multiple.
Multiple X.
Yeah, multiple x, correct? No? because I told no y value is depend on x1, x2 and x3. So when we say exogenous latent construct, it is not only independent variable, it is called as multiple independent variable. Okay, what is the right word to use here? Multiple independent variable. Okay, now you tell me, when we say endogenous, can it be more than one dependent variable in practical or anything? Can it be more than one dependent variable? Yes or no? Right? Yes, there can be
Yes, sir.
chances either. There can be more than one dependent variable. So in that case, what it will be? If this is multiple independent variable, then what it should be? It will be multiple dependent variable, right? It will be called as what? Multiple independent variable. Okay. So this is what we have to understand the concept of exogenous latent construct and endogenous latent construct. Now I'll tell you little bit in depth about how to see when it comes to exogenous. Okay, first my discussion will be on exogenous latent construct. Okay, so what is exogenous? Is it x variable or y variable? Can anybody respond me? Will it be x variable or y variable?
X.
X
X,
variable.
X variable.
Remember, so okay, let me write here. X means IV, Y means DV. Is it clear now? X means independent variable, Y means dependent variable. Okay, let me write here X1, X2, X3, and X4. Okay, this is my multiple variable. But which is multiple independent variable? Suppose I'm writing like this one question. I think purchasing, okay, I think purchasing green product is more suitable, is more favorable. Let me write here more favorable. There is a first question. Again, I think purchasing, okay, purchasing green product is a good idea. This is a second question. Okay. Third one is again, same. I think purchasing green product is safe. This is one question. Okay. And the last one, I am willing to spend, I am willing to spend a little more money, a little more money to buy green product. Okay. Now this is a question you are given. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now you tell me, okay, this is your question is. So against each question, what you will do? You will ask and you will tell them to give what rating, right? X1, I think purchasing green product is more favorable. So you will give rating either 2, 3, 1, 4, based on your choice. Yes or no? So now you tell me, when I'm combining all this questionnaire, okay, when I'm combining X1, X2, X3, and X4, right? Tell me what it will become. So these all four questions are related to one particular concept, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So it means when I'm saying, okay, for example, X1, X2, X3, and X4. Tell me, when I'm combining all the four questions, just now I told no, when combining means when I'm clubbing all these four questions, what it will become? This is called construct. What is this called as what? Construct. Which construct it is? X1, X2, X3, X4. These are all my four questions. Clubbing together will become construct. But which construct it is called? It is called latent construct. Am I clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's talk about, now when I'm combining, it will become latent construct. So now let me write here. Whatever the I questions I written, I think purchasing green product is favorable. Purchasing green product is a good idea. It's a safe people. I want to buy. I want to spend little bit more money on buying a green product. Okay. All these things we have to denote one particular concept. And let me give one name. That concept is called attitude. So can I say attitudes of consumers towards buying of product, or which is called towards the buying of green products. So can I say whatever the questions you ask here, these are all related to the attitude, right? So it means attitude related first question, attitude related second question, attitude related third question, and attitude related fourth question. Now tell me, this attitude, what we say, this is something called as exogenous latent construct. It is called as exogenous latent construct. So I'm trying to tell you how are you going to build your model, right? So what this attitude says, this is something which is your construct, but which construct this is? This is prepared this construct based on x1, x2, x3, and x4, right? So this word attitude, which is once again can't be measured. Attitude can be measured. But remember, attitude, if you talk about it, is something qualitative, but we can measure in the form of quantitative. How are we going to measure? By putting some rating scale, right? So the attitudes of a particular customers towards buying of green products. So on base of attitude, I have prepared some questionnaire like first question, second question, which are all my independent variable. And that is the reason we say this attitude is one of your exogenous latent construct. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. That means it is independent, sir.
Yeah,
Independent.
it is independent only. Yes, ma'am. Because still we are in exogenous only. So it means this attitude, what we say, it is one of the independent variables. That means we are only the one side of the story of SEM, which is called as exogenous latent construct. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Let's move on to the next one. Okay. Next. Now you tell me, what is the opposite of another one? Exogenous, and what is the one more thing we have discussed?
Endogenous.
Endogenous. Okay, now all of you please try to understand, because you may use in your thesis or in your paper, research paper. So we have to discuss now endogenous latent construct. Endogenous latent construct. Now you tell me, what is endogenous latent construct? What is endogenous now? Is it a dependent or independent? Which variable
Dependent.
it is? Yeah, it is a dependent variable. Now you tell me, are we, can we have more than one dependent variable?
Yes.
Yeah, so it means we called as multiple dependent variable. Okay, let's try to understand now. Again, what I will do now, I will ask questions here based on which one dependent variable. Y1. I deliberately am writing one statement, which is your item. We call it as item. I deliberately purchase green product. Y2. I always purchase. I always purchase green product. whenever I have option, whenever I have option. One more, Y3, choosing green product. Okay, choosing green product is something I have done automatically or adopted. Okay, now you tell me. We are prepared a questionnaires or items based on dependent variable y1, y2, y3, right? So now let's talk about this one. For a one single particular dependent variable, you have prepared so many sub items. Okay. Now what I'll do now, I'll once again, what I'll do here, I'll give some option. One, give the rating 1 to 5 between this. Okay. Then let me put it here. After writing the question, now we have to define to one particular construct, right? This is belong to one particular construct. So we can say y1, y2, and y3. There were three dependent variable items, right? This y1, y2, y3, they all denote to, we have to give one, we have to club, no? Once again, we have to club, right? This, yes or no? Remember, we did clubbing in independent variable. Here also we did clubbing, right? In previous question. So now you have to club all the independent variable. You have to club and you have to give a name for this. Let me give a name. This is something related to your purchase behavior. I'm giving one name. So now you tell me your purchase behavior. So all these questions which I ask you, I deliberately purchase green product. So what is every time the word is used here, purchase, purchase. I always purchase green product whenever I have option. Choosing green product is something I have done automatically. So this is denoting to one particular construct. What is that construct name is called as what? Purchase behavior. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Right. So now what we did, so for independent variable, we constructed exogenous latent variable construct, and there you have one more we have constructed called as dependent variable construct. We called as purchase behavior. Okay. The third thing which you have to understand when it comes to same model, the third one is called as model building. Okay. So model building, or we can say explaining this model. You know, right? Many times, many people they always say that I'm building a model, I'm building this particular variable, I'm taking and I'm constructing a model. They always use the word called as constructing the model, right? So the question comes here, what is model? So basically, remember friends, model is something which is your representation of your theory. Model is your representation of your what? Theory. Now you tell me. We all of us, we read literatures, right? We all of us read so many articles we collected from different sources, and many articles we must have explained so many theories in that particular article. So that means with the help of theory, you're building a model now. With the help of theory, you're building a model, right? Then question comes here, what is theory then? See, theory is something which is different, right? So we know, right? In research, there are two types of research, like inductive and deductive type of research, right? One is something from observation to theory building, and the another way is something called testing the theory, right? So whenever you're building a model means you're trying to represent the theory. Remember, your model is failed unless you don't represent the theory. Theory is the support and backbone for your entire model, right? And how theory comes? Theory is something which is comes from your phenomena. It's a long discussion. Theory is something which comes out of your lot of observations, a lot of you have to go on the field and understand everything you can. Then you try to build some theory, right? It's a phenomenon concept, which is nothing but the idea is inception is done from the beginning. So it means we are talking about the theory building here. So you constructed one theory, right? Let me take one example of theory. Okay. So which is very, very famous theory. Most of you must have aware about this one. We called as theory of, I hope so you must have heard about this theory called as theory of planned behavior. There is one theory called
Yes,
theory of planned behavior. Have you heard about this, any one of you?
yes, sir. Marketing field mostly it is theory of plant behavior.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about now. I'll take one example because how this particular concept is coming. So there is a theory of planned behavior. Okay. Now let's try to understand. Okay. In this theory, there are three important constructs. What are those constructs? Let's check. The first one is attitudes towards purchasing. Attitude towards purchasing. This is your first construct. And the second one is something called subjective norms. This is your second construct. And the third one is something called perceived behavior control. Perceived behavior control. This is your third construct. Now, let's try to understand, friends. There is one dependent variable which is called purchase intention. Okay, purchase intention. So it means your purchase intention is depend on your attitudes towards purchasing, towards your subjective norms, and towards your perceived behavior control. So it means this one is affecting on this. Subjective norm is affecting on purchase intention. Perceived behavior control is affecting on purchase intentions. Now you tell me, attitude towards purchasing, then subjective norms, perceived behavior control, all these are construct. Okay. But this construct is impacting on purchase intention. It means your purchase intention is depend on these three factors. Let me write here x1. This is, let's imagine, x2, and this is your x3. If x1, x2, x3, these are all which is nothing but your construct having an impact on your purchase intent. So in that case, what this will be y.
Right.
So it, right. So if your y purchase intention is depend on x1 variable, x2 and x3. So we can write like this. Y is depend on x1 plus x2 plus x3. Right. So now you tell me, still the theory is not completed. It has further to understand. Whatever I wrote x1, x2, x3. Okay. Can anybody tell me, is it exogenous or endogenous?
Exogenous, sir. X1, X2.
Yeah, this is called as exogenous. Exogenous. Remember the word X, EX. So here X is important. X1, X2, X3. Now you remember, when exogenous is there, in simple layman language, exogenous variables are called as which variable? IV. Correct?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Nothing but independent variable. Now you tell me, if X1, X2, X3 is exogenous, then what about purchase intentions?
Endogenous.
This will be your endogenous. So this is your dependent variable, right? Now, let's talk about further. One more construct I'm adding here. One more construct I'm adding, and that construct name is purchase behavior. That construct name is what? Purchase behavior. Now you tell me, purchase intention can impact your purchase behavior? Or can I
Yes.
say purchase behavior is impacted because of purchase intention?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right? So now you tell me x1, x2, x3 has impacted y. But now this y, which is your dependent variable, again, it is impacting one more variable. That one more variable can also be your dependent variable, correct? So
Yes.
now you tell me this purchase behavior is depend on purchase intention,
Yes, sir.
and purchase intention is depend on x1, x2, and x3, right? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, please tell me the variable which is purchase intention, the variable which is purchase intention is impacting purchase behavior. Earlier, it was a dependent variable. Now, for purchase behavior, it will become which variable?
Independent variable.
Yes, exactly. The variable which was dependent variable, now it has become independent variable for purchase behavior, right? So we can draw like this also. So it means one dependent variable can be independent for another. But now you tell me, when we say same model, okay, now go back to my first initial discussion. When we do same model, tell me, can it have more than y variable? Can it have y1, y2,
Yes, sir.
right? If it can have multiple y, means multiple dv, then it should have multiple x also, x1, x2, x3, right? So
Yes,
it
sir.
means, what is the logic of SEM now? You can have more than one dependent variable. You can have more than one independent variable. So when we say SEM, so it means it's an equation model. When we are building, it means it's something which is having multiple dv's and multiple xv. So between dv and xv, between dv and iv, we are trying to find out the relationship by using one advanced multivariate technique called as SEM, right? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, what is it? Is it clear? Okay. Shall we proceed further?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So now let's try to work on Jamovi. And before that, I want to show you one concept here. Then I'll go to immediately in Jamovi. Okay. Is it screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Right. Now try to understand what is how do we try to link it in Jam when it comes to SEM model. Imagine there is a construct one and there is one more construct two. Okay. I told you this is represented in oval shape. Between construct one and construct two, can I find a relationship? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So when we are trying to find out the relationship between construct 1 and construct 2, the arrow will be like this. Okay, tell me, brand awareness is a construct or not? Is a construct. And one more is brand loyalty. Now you tell me, between brand awareness and brand loyalty, can I find correlation?
Yes.
Right. So it means whenever you see this arrow, both the side, when arrow is like this means this is something talks about the correlation. Correlations, or we can say, what is correlation? Basically, it's nothing but relationship between two construct. Now you tell me, how do we get construct? Construct, when you will get construct, when you club many questionnaires. When you club too many questionnaires, you get a construct. And what is construct is used for? It is used for to determine the correlationship, right? So now you tell me, brand awareness and brand loyalty both are construct. Between this, I am finding the relationship. So it means, tell me, is it a interdependence or dependence? Can you answer me this one? Will it be?
Interdependent.
Yeah, it will be interdependence because one is depend on other, right? So interdependence. So always remember interdependence symbol will be like this, two arrow both the side. Next one. Then there is something called construct one. And there is something called construct two. So now you tell me, construct one is impacting construct two. Arrow is coming one side or both the side? How the arrow is moving? Is the arrow is having point on the both side or one side only? It has the bow. This it is on
One.
one side. So remember, if the arrow is like this, so it means this speaks about dependence relationship. Okay, let me give an example. In theory of planned behavior, tell me, can I write construct two as purchase behavior and construct one will be your purchase intention? Right? Purchase intention can have an impact on purchase behavior. Is it clear now? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is why we say it is called dependence relationship. Okay, and the last one, let me tell you one thing. There are some prerequisites are there of SEM. So before you build SEM model, no, you have to have some prerequisite. First one is multiple linear regression. Then second one is something called multivariate regression. There is a difference, okay, between multiple linear regression and multivariate regression. And the third one is something called path model. And the fourth prerequisite for SEM is EFA. And the fifth prerequisite for SEM is CFA. If you have completed all this, then your SEM is completed. These are the prerequisite for SEM. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let me tell you what is the difference between this MLR and a multivariate regression. Then path model EFA, CFA we have discussed. Okay. These two concepts I'll discuss, then I'll come to software. First one is multiple linear regression. Multiple linear regression. We write like this. Yi is nothing but beta naught plus beta naught plus B1 xi plus ei. We also can write like this the equation y1 is equal to beta 1 naught x naught, that is your alpha, plus beta 1 x beta 1 1 x1 plus beta 1 2 x2 plus beta 1 3 x3, and it is go on with ei epsilon 1, or we can say epsilon I. So since it's a y1, it will be e1 then. For y2, how it will be equation? I hope you know what is matrix. The same way in matrix also we can calculate. So second y2 is a second dependent variable. Beta 2 naught x naught plus beta 2 1 x1 plus beta 2 2 into 2 x2 plus beta 2 3 x3, and this will be your epsilon 2. This is your multiple regression formula. So it means what is ultimately it talks about x naught, x1, x2, x3, and there is a y, which is your yi. X1 having an impact on x naught have means alpha value has an impact on y1. X1 has an impact on y1. X2 has an impact on y3, and x3 has an impact on y1 with some epsilon. This is called multiple linear regression. Means multiple x is impacting the single y variable, right? Now, what is multivariate then? So the second part prerequisite for SEM model is multivariate regression. Multivariate regression. Okay. You have x naught, x1, x2, and x3. All these are independent variable. Then you have y1 and y2. What is y1, y2? These are all called as dependent variable. So you have x1, x2, x3, y1, y2. So now what we do exactly, okay, let me write once again. Yeah, this is y2. So now let's find out, okay. X naught can have an impact on y1. X naught can also have an impact on y2. Then x1 can have impact on y1. At the same time, x1 can have impact on y2, right? What is the next one? X2 can have impact on y1, and x2 can also impact on y2, right? Next one, x3 can impact y1. At the same time, x3 can impact on y2. So you have interdependence and indirect effects. right? Between x0, x1, x2, and x3 on y1 and y2. So it means whenever we calculate the observed values and predicted value between x0 and x1, each time you will get this kind of result with some error. This is E1 and this is E2. So x0 and y1, x0 has some impact on y1. How do we measure? This is nothing but b1, okay, b0. So now let's imagine x0 has also impact on y2. So how do we measure this one? This is called beta values, b2 x0. Like this, we calculate all the beta values for between the each dependent and independent variable. This is called multivariate regression. Just for theory, for purpose of understanding, I told you. So this is what background actually happening in SEM model. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think we're done with this. So now let's work on the model now. So can you please open your Jamovi software, all of you? And just let me know once you're ready. You can raise your hand once you're ready. Okay, you all of you, I hope so. You have a data set with which is given to you. Let me share my screen now. Can you able to see now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. One data set which is called purchasing behavior. Can you import that one? Once you're ready, please let me know. Purchasing behavior. Can you import that data set? Click on three dot, click open and select that file. Okay. Now let's start this one. So what is your first
can't-
job? Hmm, okay, what is your first job is? I hope you can see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Your first job is convert all the nominal variable into continuous variable. Okay, you can see the symbol. Just double click on this. Convert this measure type from nominal to continuous. Everything. Convert all this. Okay, I think all is completed. Is it completed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you see this Word document?
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Before I proceed with this, I'll just quickly read this case because we have to first understand what is a problem statement. There is a company called Greenleaf. A company focuses on consumer electronics and their aims is to analyze the factors that affect its customer repeat purchasing behavior. The dependent variable, the outcome variable is repeat purchase behavior. Very, very important term is called purchase behavior is your dependent variable. And the independent variable includes product satisfaction, brand trust, perceived innovation. In addition, customer engagement is an intermediary of factors that may affect the relationship between the independent variable and repeat purchasing behavior. Each variable represents a latent construct assessed through four indicator variables. So what are those four? Let's try to understand. The first one is product satisfaction, which is called as PS. So you can see in Jamovi, they have given PS1, PS2, PS3. So this is your construct, which is your construct. The product satisfaction is your construct. And PS1, PS2, PS3 is something called as items, or we can say those are something which is observed variable from here. So PS1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing you have BT, which is called brand trust, BT1, BT2, BT3, and BT4. And the next one is something called perceived innovation, which is called as PI. This is your PI1, PI2 and PI3, 4. These are some statement they given and they have collected the responses on Likert scale. The next one is one more construct is called customer engagement, which is called as CE, which can be evaluated through the following metrics like I regularly purchase Greenleaf via application website and all. So how the customer engagement is happening, these are the ways they have asked the questions. And these are all validated, okay? These are all validated and properly tested. And the last one is repeat purchasing behavior, which is called as REPB, which is evaluated through REPB 1, 2, 3, and 4. So tell me, what is this one? Is it exogenous or endogenous? This REPB. How do we get to know that whether it's exogenous or endogenous? You can read this paragraph. The dependent variable, or we can say outcome variable, is what? Repeat purchasing behavior. Then purchasing behavior is impacted because of product satisfaction. Yes or no? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So purchase behavior. Okay. So now this is your endogenous variable and the remaining all are exogenous variable. Okay. So I hope you are in Jamovi. So what you have to do, I think you will not have this option called SEM, right? You don't have an option of SEM here, correct? Just let me know. Do you have this option called SEM here?
No, sir.
No, right? Okay, no problem. What you can do, can you see on the right side, there is something called modules plus. Do you have this option of module?
Yes, sir.
Can you please click here and click on Jamovi library? Please click on Jamovi library. And here you have to search SEM. Just search SEM. Structural equation model based on Lavan. Just make sure you search like this and you will get like this. This is one of your, we can say, additional tool which is available. You have to first install this one. Did you got it?
Yes, sir.
So what you have to do, there is a one option called install. I have already installed, that's why it is showing, but you have to install this one. Let me know once you complete. Done? Is it happening? Is it getting installed? Shall we proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. After installing, then you have to do click on this up arrow and please check now. Do you get, did you got this option called SEM, SEM?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Others also, just let me know if you got or not. Shall we proceed now? So can you click on that option? Can you please click on this option called SEM, and how many options you get?
Oh, sir.
So if you click on SEM, do you have two options, SEM, syntax and interactive? Click on SEM interactive. Did you got it?
Got it, sir.
Now, what do you see on the left side? What is this? It is called as which? What is they have written here? It is
Endogenous.
endogenous, right? And we have to define, okay? So what is your endogenous and exogenous? So can you just rename this, okay, with the first one? Just type this one, all of you. Customer engagement. Just change it to customer engagement. Done?
Yes, sir.
Now, wherever you see on the left side, C1, what is C refers to here? It's called as what? Customer engagement, okay? So all this C, okay, go to the shift, select down, just click here and put it inside the box. Here, done.
Done, sir.
Next one. You have one more thing, okay, which is the option which is given to you. Add new latent variable. Can you click on this? Add new latent variable. Here, you should change this one, endogenous to, there is a one more term called as repurchase behavior, right? I think REPB is the repurchase behavior. Just type this much. Repurchase behavior. Done? Is it clear? Now,
Yes, sir.
go down. There is REPB 1, 2, 3, 4. Just select all and just push inside this box. You will get like this. Clear? Right? Once you finish, let me know.
Got it, sir.
Okay. Right side, can you please check it? Are you getting the values like this? Right side also you have to check it.
Got it, sir.
Okay. So now let's do it the next one. Now everything whatever you are available, come to this exogenous. Come to this exogenous now and change this to the first one, product satisfaction. Product satisfaction. Done. Okay. So now in this product satisfaction, what you have to do? PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4. All these variable you have to put inside this box. Is it clear? Are you able to do it?
Yes, sir.
Again, click on add latent or new latent. You change this to brand trust. Okay, when you're writing, no, don't give space. It will not accept space. Otherwise, it will show some errors. So now what you have to do, BT1, which is called brand trust 1, 2, 3, 4. All this you have to push and put inside this box. Done. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then what is left over now? PS1, PS2, PS3 is over, right? BT1, BT2, BT3 also over. C1, C2, C3 customer engagement REPB is also over. Both are dependent variable. What is left over now? PI, right? What is PI here? So what you have to do, add new latent variable, change this to perceived innovation. PER CEIVED, don't give space, perceived innovation. P1, P2, P3 and P4, just push it inside this box. Then, are you able to do it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, I think all the variables we have put it according to their designated box. Next thing is, can you scroll down? All of please scroll down. You can see there is an option called as endogenous model. Can you see everyone? Endogenous model. Can you click like this? Done. Is it there? Did you got like this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now what you have to do, one by one, you have to add the variable here. Okay. In endogenous, which is called as dependent variable, the first item you have to put called as product satisfaction, put inside this. Then brand trust put inside this. And then perceived innovation put inside the box. Finally, in endogenous repurchase, there is one more dependent variable. You have to put customer engagement inside this box. Customer engagement inside the box. Did you got this one? Are you able to do it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next one, go down after doing endogenous model, just make it small, then go to model option. Go to model option. In model option, what you have to do, there is something called estimation method. This method always should be based on ML. That's called maximum likelihood. Okay, just select maximum likelihood. Then one more thing, data missing value, delete listwise. Instead of that, you should select something called pairwise. Then is it clear? Now, after that, can anybody give me confirmation? Are you able to get this output?
Done, sir. Got it.
Okay. Yeah. Next, what you have to do, there is something called parameters option. Just click down in this option in parameter options. Standard error, let it be automatic. Confidence interval, let it be estimates. Intercept, we have something called as mean structure and observed variable. There is a one very important one box is there, which is called as estimates. Remember, it's an indirect effect. So you should estimate, you're checking the indirect effect of x1 to y. So you have to click indirect effect option. Okay. Then again, you have to go down. Again, you have to go down. There is an option after doing this. There is an option called output option. Can you see everyone? In output option, okay, you have to select few. Okay, here all of you please try to see what and all I'm doing this option from here. First, you have to click on additional output, additional fit measures, then click reliability indices, then click modification indices, then hide low indices. This option you have to enable. And then in R square, you have to select instead of none based on endogenous. Instead of none, you have to select based on endogenous. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Lastly, there is something called path diagram. Can you see this, everyone? Path diagram. Okay. So what you have to do in path diagram, first you have to enable this option of path diagram. Done. Now in this diagram, path diagram, you have to enable paths will not take based on coefficient, will take betas, B naught, B1. So select this option called betas and scroll down. Remaining, keep it like this only. Scroll down, scroll down. Now tell me, did you got this model?
Yes, sir.
This is your final, we can say what we were telling, no, that is the model which we are trying. This is called your SEM path model. Now you tell me repurchase behavior and customer engagement. Tell me, repurchase behavior is depend on customer engagement? Yes or no? And customer engagement is depend on perceived innovation, brand loyalty, and perceived product satisfaction. Correct? Are you able to get it, this diagram?
Got it, sir.
Okay. So now repurchase behavior and customer engagement are your dependent variable. And this is all your independent variable. With between the variable, there is a, you can see, I told you, know, arrows. So you can see there are two arrows coming and which is having a correlation between the arrows. Between construct to items, there is a correlation. So whatever you see, you know, that B 0.82, 0.74, 0.80, all are beta values, which are nothing but how much will be a changes based on 1 unit of changes in X, how much changes unit will happen on Y. That is all your beta values between this. And the brand trust to BT4321, these are all your beta values. This is what your structural model. And you can see here the model fitness. If yesterday I was talking about, right, modification and additional output. I want you to just see here. I think you will get here all this variance covariance matrix. And this is your measurement model. All the p values of this model is less than 0.05. You can see on the left side. It means there is some kind of association is there between your latent and observed variables. So all the p values are mostly in this case are less than 0.05. And the estimates value of between dependent and predicted variable also you can see between the interaction effect. The estimate value is also 0.211. And in this case, we found the two variable between customer engagement and brand test. There is a p value is less than 0.01. There is a having some significant association, or we can say impact. And as well as you can see, there is R square value, which is 0.1919, and repurchase behavior dependent variable. Both are dependent variable R square. So the R square is better in case of repurchase behavior, which is having 0.142. And this is all your additional fit models based on the criterias, AIC, BIC values. And you have something called fit indices, right? With confidence level of 95%. I told in the last class about what is SMR, what is RMSC, right? What should be the level of, what is the range of this? And overall test model, you can see this model p value is less than 0.01. So that's how we trying to understand whether this model is best or fit or not. So by taking this concept of all the variables, by taking independent and dependent variable, we found there is some kind of what association as well as interaction effect is found over here. Are you able to get it, everyone? This diagram and these values, whatever we discuss here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this was a small introduction about SIM, but there are a lot of things to discuss over here. Since how to perform in Jamovi, we got it here. So how to do it when it comes to your, you have to define your own your product, your research hypothesis is very important. Your variables are very important. So based on your variables, your literature gap, all these things will define how to take this particular diagram there. Okay. So I'll stop it here. It's already 8:38. Okay. Fine, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Fine, sir.
Any questions, participants? Usha ma'am, can you please propose the vote of thanks?
Sure, Sarvanan sir. Sir, every minute spent on this day was worth listening, sir. It was really a overwhelming session, very engaging. I am sure my fellow colleagues made full use of the opportunity to learn and apply the knowledge on SEM modeling. Hats off to your passion and patience. Thank you once
Thank you,
again, sir.
ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
ma'am. Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you all for your active involvement. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Tomorrow we'll start with the time series model.
Sure, sir.
Okay,
We will be there.
I'll share the data set with Tuba ma'am, and you can just download and keep it with you. Yes.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank
Good night, all.
you. Yes. Good night, ma'am. Yes.